Hello everyone and welcome back to Three-Legged Dog Yoga. If you are new to the channel, I am Lindsay, this is Chewy, and today's class is a Vinyasa Flow. So if you are new to yoga, this one might not be the best for you. However, I will link a video for beginners in the description below. If you do use any props in your regular practice, please go ahead and grab those now, and we will get started at the top of our mats.
Let's get started today at the top of our mat in Tadasana. So feet are hips width, slight bend in the knees, shoulders are rolled back, and the crown of the head stays lifted. Palms are facing forward. And let's just start moving inward with the breath. Starting to elongate the inhales and elongate the exhales. And really bringing the focus inwards as we move through our practice today. We'll begin today by taking a big inhale, reach the arms overhead, look up. Exhale, bend the knees, fold forward. Inhale, straighten the legs, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, step back, drop the knees, come all the way down to the chest. Inhale to cobra. Tuck the toes as we exhale to downward facing dog. Taking a moment here to walk out your dog, bending through the knees, shifting through the hips, and then eventually finding stillness. Reaching through the palms of the hands, shoulders are pulling away from the ears, and our heels are reaching down towards the floor. No bother if they reach there or not. On the inhale, let's gaze between the hands, take a step up, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, reach the arms all the way overhead, look up. And exhale, hands come to heart center. And again, inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, plant the hands. Come down either through knees or through chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Planting the hands nice and firmly. Let's reach that right arm back towards the left shin, left calf, coming into a twist. Gaze comes underneath that left armpit. Keeping the breath nice and full here. And then we'll switch sides. Bring that right hand back up the top. Get a nice firm base. And then as we reach back, twist underneath the arm, underneath the right arm. Again, keeping the gaze nice and bright, feeling into any shakes and just breathing into them. And then we'll inhale that left hand back up top. Gaze between the hands, step or hop to the top of your mat as we inhale to lift. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale brings us all the way up, hands touch. Exhale, hands through heart center. Awesome. Let's heel toe those feet together, sink the hips. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, straighten the legs as we fold forward. Inhale to halfway lift, hands come to shins. Exhale, plant the hands. Come all the way down through chaturanga. To upward facing dog, and to downward facing dog. Let's inhale that right foot between the hands. Come all the way up. Finding our warrior one. Exhale, plant the hands. Come back through chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. And we'll switch sides. Inhale, step that left foot up. Come all the way up for warrior one. Exhale, plant the hands, come through your chaturanga, inhale to upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a moment here, giving a nice firm downward facing dog here, nice deep breaths. And then we'll gaze between the hands. Inhale, step up. Exhale, fold forward. Hinge through the hips, drop the hips as we inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands through heart center. And again, drop the hips as we inhale. Exhale, straighten the legs, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, look up. Exhale, plant the hands, come through your chaturanga. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Adding on, let's inhale that right foot up between the hands, come all the way up for warrior one. Sinking through the hips here. Keeping those arms lifted up towards the sky. And then we'll pivot on that back foot, coming into our high lunge, dropping the knee down if you'd like to come down to a low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Keeping the core engaged. And then we'll drop the left hand to the right knee, right hand to the right thigh, bringing a gentle twist into this low lunge, reaching that left arm overhead. Inhale, plant the hands, step back, come through your chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. And we'll switch sides. Big inhale, bring that left foot between the hands, come all the way up for warrior one. Take a breath here, shining that heart forward. And then we pivot on the foot, sink into those hips, and then drop that back knee down for Anjaneyasana on the opposite side. Big breath here. And then let's twist. We'll drop that left hand to the right thigh. Inhale that right arm overhead. Reaching towards the back corner of the wall with that right arm. And then on the exhale, drop the hands, step back, coming through our vinyasa. And meeting again in downward facing dog. Staying here for a few deep breaths, really pressing through those hands and through those heels. Checking in with the shoulders, making sure they're away from the ears. And then on the inhale, bring the gaze between the hands, step to the top of your mat, look up. Exhale, fold forward. Drop the hips as we inhale to come all the way up. Exhale, straighten the legs, hands through heart center. Let's heel toe our feet out to hips distance, just taking a pause here in Tadasana, checking in with the breath. Keeping the shoulders rolled back, crown of the head stays lifted. And let's keep moving. Let's take a big step back with that right foot. Bring the feet out wide to about 45 degrees. Take a big bend through the knees for goddess pose. Hips are sinking down. Keeping a nice neutral pelvic bone. And then we'll start shifting our weight side to side. Just finding that nice solid base here. And then finding some stillness. Let's inhale those arms up beside our heads, shoulders roll back. And then we'll start finding some movement here, lifting the right heel and then lifting the left, one at a time. Keeping that focus. And then eventually lifting both heels off the floor if you can, bringing a challenge to yourself, seeing if you can keep the balance. Enjoying how this feels. And then eventually straightening those legs, coming up through standing. And we'll bring our feet back to parallel to the short edges of our mat. Take a big inhale and we'll hinge at the hips, fold forward. Maybe reaching for opposite ankles. Making sure our pelvic bone is reaching forward here, so our belly is reaching towards our thighs. And then we'll start walking our hands over to that right hand. Check in with the hips, make sure they're staying as square as we possibly can. And then reaching down with that belly. And we'll slowly come out of it and walk the hands to the opposite side. Let's take a big inhale, check in with those hips, try and get them nice and square. And then the exhale, bring that belly down to the thigh, chest reaches towards the shin. And join this hamstring stretch on the left side. And then walking the hands through center, we'll slowly come halfway up. Heel toe those feet in a bit together. Point the toes outwards. And then sink through the hips, coming down through Malasana Yogi Squat. Once again, finding a little bit of movement here, shifting the hips side to side. Bringing those hands through heart center, pressing out with the elbows, pressing out through the legs. Keeping a nice tall spine. And then we'll slowly shift our weight down to our sit bones. Coming up through the middle of our mat, and we'll inhale our legs up for boat, so keeping the shins parallel to the floor. If you have a different variation of this, you're welcome to do so. If not, just staying here, keeping that breath nice and bright. And then as we exhale, we'll slowly come down to the mat, straightening out those legs as we come down. Holding it for a moment right before we drop down. Awesome. Let's take a moment here. We'll drop the knees together, keeping the feet wide. And then we'll bring the feet back together, coming in, setting up for our bridge. So let's bring our feet planted. Feet are planted at hips distance. Roll onto the shoulders, coming off the back of the neck. And then we'll send those hips up to the sky. Making sure our knees are squeezing together, our thighs are squeezing together. Breath stays strong here. And then as we exhale, we slowly roll off those shoulders, come down nice and gently. And then we'll reach our hands to the side, scooch the hips over to the left side, and come right away into our twist. Maybe taking that gaze over that left palm, driving that left shoulder down to the floor, and starting to just come into our natural state of breath, so releasing any controlled breathing. And then bringing the gaze back through center. Send those hips back to neutral, and then we'll shift them over to the right hand side and drop the knees to the left. Again, maybe bringing that gaze over the right shoulder. Right shoulder stays glued to the ground. And then bringing the gaze back through center. Let's shift those hips back to neutral. Take a moment here. Drop those knees together, widen the feet. Let's place one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. Just take a moment to relax here. Just coming back to that natural state of breath. And then let's slowly roll onto our right side. Just taking a moment here and then gently pressing our way up through seated on your own time. No rush to get there. And just closing the eyes for a moment. We'll sit up nice and tall with our shoulders rolled back. And we'll close our practice today with one big sigh. So exhale all the air out. Big inhale. And then exhale, sigh it out. Gently opening the eyes. That is all for today's practice. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.